Welcome, race fans, men and women, and boys and girls of all ages, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Dented Fender Series Pad 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, welcoming in the booth as he does every Wednesday night here is well-renowned, great racer, the 2016 Dented Fender Truck Champion, Curtis Young. How you doing tonight, Curtis?
Good, Robert. Here at Texas on a pretty slick racetrack today for these trucks. 95-degree track temperature is what these drivers will be dealing with, and 167 laps, one of our longer races on the 2017 campaign, so should be a good one.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis. This is one of our 4 crown jewel events. The top 3 drivers will earn some income for finishing in the top 3. We also have a special $5 bonus for the winner of this race if he has a PAD, People Against Distracted Driving logo on his truck. We want to go right to our standings, which we're going to have on the screen in a minute. I know you fans, we do appreciate you being here, and a lot of you are following our standings. We have in first place, we have Ryan Campbell. He has got 223
Gerald
points.
Campbell.
Sorry, yeah, my bad. Thank you, Curtis. Gerald Campbell, 223 points. Behind him, we have Gary Sexton with 204. In third, we have Josh Tanner. He has 2 wins. Fifth, we have Tyler Chalk. Fourth, we have Tim B. Cox. Fifth, Tyler Chalk, one of our newer drivers. Sixth, we have James Ross. He has 1 win. Seventh, Jeremy Crandall, a great driver from Florida. Eighth in points, we have Dustin Lee. He also has a win. Andy Kessler's in 9th. And in 10th place, it rounds out with Jack Watts. We also have a couple more drivers, fans, and viewers that do have a win on the season, which means they are locked in to the chase when it does start. Mark Jackson has a win, and Shane Parrish has a win. So, Curtis, what are you expecting from these drivers in the top 10 and all the other drivers as qualifying has begun?
Well, Judd Danielson is one guy I see just outside the top 10 there. He's sitting in 12th right now with 162 points, tied with William Locklear for 11th, actually. He's only 5 points behind Jack Watts in the top 10. I think he's got a top 3 in the last 2 truck races, so he's just knocking on the doorstep of that first win in the Domino's family of leagues, and I look for him to definitely push his way up into the top 10 as the season progresses, as well as Vernon Markheim. He's only 9 points behind Judd in 14th place. He's another one who catches my eye, who's been running in the top 10 most of the races that he's had, and just had a little bit of bad luck, and that's why he's sitting outside of the top 10 right now. But I expect these drivers to settle in, have a couple green flag pit stops over this lengthy race that we have tonight.
Thank you, Curtis. In the booth, we have Ivan Garcia in the 72 truck tonight. Ivan, you know a lot about PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. Give us a minute and tell us what you know about the history of PAD. We'd love to have them as our sponsor tonight.
Okay. Yes. Distracted driving is a very, very bad thing, and people pay a big price for that, and you shouldn't do it. And young lady died a few years back, Nikki, and her parents decided to put up these races and stuff to teach others not to do it, not to be distracted driving. Keep your eyes on the way, straight ahead, the side mirrors, and don't phone nobody, because you could wait to get home to do this. So, we as people, need to learn that, because I've seen wrecks like that almost myself. One day I was going down spraying the road. All of a sudden, a person come and cross me, and almost wrecked me, and it's bad. So just don't do it. Keep your eyes on the road, and anything that you do that is distracting, reading, drinking coffee or doing other things that you're not supposed to be doing in the car, watching TV for that in the car. That's very bad, because that's a bad thing, to take a life. That's the ultimate sacrifice. So people, please do not text and drive. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan. Good luck in the race tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to go over a couple things real quick about PAD as we're getting ready to have our starting grid. It was formed in memory. He was talking about Nikki Kalini, who was tragically killed on November 15th, 2012 at age 19. Her young life was taken from her by a distracted driver. We got a lot of information I'm going to give you over the course of the race. Again, fans, thanks for being here. We're very proud and thankful to have PAD sponsoring our 250-mile race here at Texas Motor Speedway.
And starting on the pole tonight, we have the number 67 of William Hartman. Rolling off to his outside, Josh Tanner in the 84, looking for another win on this 2017 truck season here tonight. William Locklear starts in third. Tyler Chalk in the 07 machine starts in fourth. Shane Parrish in the 81 rounds out your top five, and James Ross, bad luck the last couple weeks. Probably should have had 2 wins the last couple weeks, but just bad luck bit him. The 51 truck rolls off in 6th tonight. Dustin Lee in 7th. The 6 of Gerald Campbell rolls off in 8th. Tim Cox in 9th. And Mark Jackson in the 3 rounds out your top 10. Gary Sexton in the 17 and starts in the 11th position with Jeff Martin starting to his outside in 12th. Jack Watts in the 66 starts in 13th, and the 70 of Tim Ranger starts in 14th. Andrew Kessler in the 98 starting in 15th position tonight with Ronald Klein to his outside in the 18 truck. Gene Collum in the 76 starts in 17th tonight with Vernon Margheim in the 33 to his outside. The 85 of Judd Danielson starting way back in 19th tonight with the 77 of Craig Lerman rounding out your top 20. Joe Johnson in the 83 starting in 21st with Gary Weston in the 14 starting in 22nd. Sean Kalist in the 45 starting in 23rd. Ray Richard to his outside in the 44. Chad Payne in the 9 machine starting in 25th with Ricky Lake to his outside in the 26. Everybody else did not take a qualifying time. That is Donald Sadusky, Ivan Garcia, Michael Fravert, James Somke, Jeremy Crandall, Gerald Heffley, and Chuck Dix. The pace car pulls off. William Hartman leads into the green flag. He gets a good jump on the inside, and he is gone by about 3 truck lengths already as they head down to turn 1. Battle for that second position. William Locklear gets clear of Josh Tanner on the inside, and now Tyler Chalk looks to the inside of that 84 machine as they head down the backstretch for the first time tonight.
Yes, sir, Curtis. We've got a pretty full field of trucks tonight, 32 last count that I saw. And William Hartman did get a great start there. He's got about a 4, 5, 6 truck length advantage, but that will not hold up because these trucks can draft even here at Texas. And these guys behind will be catching them any minute now as they are 2 by 2 for about the first 5 or 6 positions.
Look for these guys to battle hard for some positions at the beginning of these runs and then settle things out. I actually see almost everybody single filed out already, so maybe these guys just know this is a long race and they just want to give and take where they can and run green flag. A lot of these guys seem to like the long green flag runs as opposed to the shorter ones, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like James Ross in that 51 just got around the 81 of Shane Parrish. So they drop back in line single file, and it looks like most of the trucks are running single file here as William Locklear looks like he is already starting to catch up, make up some of that time from the leader, William Hartman. Of course, this race being 167 laps, Curtis, there's going to be a lot of tire wear, so the driver who can manage their tires the best at the beginning of these runs will have the most equipment before pit stops do happen when we go green. It's going to be really, really interesting, the strategy these drivers are going to take tonight to get a win, Curtis.
Yeah, Jeremy Crandall in that 73 machine making the pass on the one of James Somke for 28th position, I think that is. Jeremy started in the 31st position, did not take a qualifying time, so just taking the strategy of riding in the back and methodically making his way up through the field, hoping to stay out of the wrecks. Do believe he's probably laying back off a bit the field right now and is hoping he can stay out of trouble.
Yes, sir, Curtis. The truck who is making some moves early is that James Ross in that 51. Looks like he's already been able to pass 1 or 2 trucks. He's putting the heat on right now. 84 of Josh Tanner in that iRacers Digest Toyota Tundra. James Ross has already got a win. He is driving that pad-sponsored Toyota Tundra in the 51. Almost touches the wall there.
Yeah, and I saw Craig Lerman and Gary Weston battling it out pretty good there the last time by. Craig Lerman actually got his left side tires in the grass a little bit, just trying to cut the track a little bit shorter as he gets to the inside of the 14 of Gary Weston. And Gary Weston's gonna beat him to the stripe this time for that 20th position in the 14 K&N Toyota Tundra, and Craig Lerman in that Caterpillar Chevrolet Silverado. So Craig Lerman's trying to get by Gary right now, and he just can't get the run. Gary's holding it good on the outside, and yeah, maybe the outside is just the place to be for passing tonight. I'm not sure. I haven't done any laps under these conditions with the truck that these guys are dealing with tonight, so I'm not sure. Typically the bottom is the fast place in 1 and 2 for sure, and 3 and 4 is a toss-up sometimes.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Right now, Joe Johnson in that 83 IRAPS FedEx Express Toyota. He's making a move on the 33 of Vernon Margine. He's in that GTR Toyota Tundra. It does look like Joe Johnson completes that pass, and he will bring Judd Danielson in the Domino-sponsored, pad-sponsored 85 Chevrolet Silverado to the inside of Vernon Margine. He's going to complete that pass as well. So yeah, some of these trucks are taking it easy on their tires these first 9 or 10 laps of the run, and other ones are charging to the front. It'll be interesting seeing about another 10 or 20 laps who starts falling back, Curtis.
Yeah, back up front we have the 67 of William Hartman out to about over half of a second lead, 3/4 of a second lead over the 4 truck of William Locklear. The 51 of James Ross has made his way up to 3rd from the 6th position. So James, basically a top 3 truck every week, and he only gets better as the long run goes on. So we'll see if he can give something for Hartman and Locklear here, as we have 2 Williams on top of the board right now.
Yes, sir, Curtis. And while we are at lap 10, we're having a green flag run. I do want to remind the fans here, every Wednesday, every Thursday night, we have these races broadcast live with All Pro Broadcasting. Michael D'Amico does a great job, and we have what we call the free pizza giveaway. This is the Domino's TYJ Racing family of leagues. This is the Dented Fender Series. And the way the free pizza giveaway works, you pick the winner, you get a free pizza dinner. Curtis, we've given a whole lot of these out this year so far. Basically, fans, on about halfway tonight, which will be lap 84, the first fan who can accurately pick the winner of this race, you can either text it to my cell, 919-883-7497, or if you're watching the race, you can comment in the chat. You pick the winner that you think is going to win this race. Again, the number is 919-883-7497. And we will have a winner to get a large 3-topping carry-out only Domino's pizza from any Domino's location in the United States of America. Curtis, we've had them given away in Florida, Tennessee, California. We've had one in Utah, I think. We've had quite a few in Virginia. Somebody from New York won one a few weeks ago. So just make sure before lap 84, you pick the winner. Text 919-883-7497, and we will update who wins that pizza tonight when the race is over.
And the 51 of James Ross has cleared that number 4 of William Locklear for the 2nd position, and he is catching 67 of William Hartman. So James Ross, like I said, better as the run goes on, coming on to lap 14 now. These guys probably about not even halfway through their fuel run, and James Ross is starting to show his strength. So we'll see if he can get to the front, and William Locklear is about a second ahead right now.
Yes, Curtis, I did find out. I ran some practice laps with these guys. In the final practice, these trucks can go approximately 40 laps on a tank of fuel. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see how the strategies play out. James Ross is one of our biggest movers. In the 51, he's moved from 6th to 2nd. We've also got, it looks like, Mark Jackson, that number 3 Chevrolet Silverado, has moved from 10th to 7th. And we got some other folks who've made a couple of spots move up, and a few guys have fallen back a few spots.
Yeah, and right now, Judd Danielson looking to the inside of the number 70 of Tim Rangers. He gets clear before they even hit turn 4. makes the pass for that 15th position. And yeah, I think Judd just caught Tim a little bit, and Tim just didn't put up much of a fight for it. He's just letting Judd go right now. A smart decision by the 70th Tim Rangers. Maybe a little bit of advice from his wife up in the spotter stand.
Yes, sir, that is very interesting. Tim's wife, Michelle, is the spotter for him in every race we have, and she does an excellent job by far. I know a lot of guys would love to have their wife spotting for him, and so he's a very lucky guy.
Yeah, that pass is actually for the 16th position. My bad. Ronald Klein runs in the 15th position with Judd Danielson just making that pass for the 16th position. So looking for battles on the racetrack, and these guys are single filed out for the most part. Josh Tanner to the inside of Tyler Chalk right now, battle for the 4th position, and Josh Tanner's another one of those guys who's pretty stout when it comes to the long run, and yeah, he's making his way up through the field. He started in 2nd, and he actually dropped back a little bit starting on that outside lane and just wasn't able to get it back very quickly, so he's making those positions back up right now. And coming up on lap 19, these guys are going to be almost halfway through their pit cycle, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now is when people's tires are really going to start falling off, and you're going to see who was saving and who was just giving it their all through the first 20 laps of this race.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis. I wanted to highlight a new driver to our league and our Dented Fender Truck Series, Ronald Klein. He is driving that, looks like the RTK Motorsports 18 Chevrolet Silverado, and he just got into the outside wall, got a little damage on his right front fender. So these trucks, even after 19, 20 laps, are becoming a handful to drive. The handling is going away as he's getting a little bit of contact, looks like, from 10 Rangers in the 70. So the tires are going away on these trucks, and it'd be interesting to see if any of these guys try any kind of short pitting or what.
Something must have happened to Josh Tanner. He fell back to the 8th position that time by, and Mark Jackson all the way up to 4th. So where did he come from? He's looking to get his second win in a row in the Josh Tanner. It looks like he ran into the wall, and he's pulled it way down on the apron. He's stopped now.
He either had some kind of a engine issue there. I'm looking at not really the replay, but I'm on his truck. He definitely was losing speed there. He's getting passed by the 19 at 10B Cox. This is back on lap 19. We were looking at it again. He's in that iRacers Digest Toyota Tundra in the 84. And then coming down the front stretch, right as soon as he passes the start-finish line, he starts losing miles an hour. And I think he's having an issue engine. He probably tried to switch boxes from A to B, and I don't think that worked either. And he's definitely pulled it down to the inside. It's probably going to take a tow here.
Unfortunate technical difficulties for the 84 machine tonight. We'll see if he can get that figured out and get back out on the track. Hopefully get back on the lead lap because he definitely had a fast piece tonight. And James Ross about holding the gap on William Hartman, and for the time being, yeah, Mark Jackson is 4 seconds back of William Hartman, so 3 seconds off of second place right now, and the battle looks like it is Gerald Campbell and Tyler Chalk right now. Between the 6 and the 07, they were the closest two cars on time last time by, and it looks like Gerald Campbell is going to be looking below the 4 of William Locklear as they head down the front stretch. Locklear got a little bit tight that time coming out of turn 4, and Gerald Campbell in the 6 takes advantage of it. Campbell looks like he hit the apron a little bit there, though. He washes up the track a little bit, and that will allow Locklear to stay on the outside as they head down the back stretch and give him a second shot at it as they head into 3.
Yes, it looks like Gerald Campbell just touched that apron, and that will get you a little bit loose. Just wanted to mention about Gerald. He is in that number 6 truck tonight. Gerald Campbell, he is from Sebring, Florida. This is a Domino's driver profile. He's got a great paint job on his truck tonight. Gerald Campbell, his team is Aggressive Eagle. His sponsor tonight is VFW, Veteran of Foreign Wars. He raced 15 years in Legends in Florida. And Gerald Campbell is the 2012 Pro Truck Champion in the state of Florida. He raced many years in the Pro Series down there. He's taken a couple of years off, but he raced with lots of NASCAR drivers, is it William Chastain, who drives the watermelon truck in the NASCAR Truck Series, Camping World Truck Series. So Gerald Campbell's is a great driver in our league. He's also got a lot of racing world experience himself.
And it looks like I just saw Gary Weston make the pass on Ronald Klein for the 18th position, and he is on the bumper of Joe Johnson now, looking to the bottom in turns 3 and 4, looking to make that pass as they head onto the front stretch, and he clears them before they even head our turn forward. Does Johnson go for the crossover? No, he doesn't. It looks like his tires are just wearing a bit, and he might have just went high for the 14 there and let him by, on judging by the radio communications there.
Yes, and it looks like we've got some changes up front. William Hartman is still leading. He's in that Aegis 67 Toyota Tundra. Behind him we have James Ross. Like you said, he's made up a lot of ground. He is in that pad-sponsored Toyota Tundra, running in second. Mark Jackson, haven't mentioned him. He's moved all the way from 10th position all the way up to 3rd right now, Curtis. And he's driving that Domino's TYJ Racing over-the-top paints Chevy Silverado, the number 3. He's having a great run so far. Gerald Campbell, just talked about him. He's running in 4th. Tyler Chalk, you were talking, they were battling earlier, and he's actually real close to Gerald Campbell. They were Tyler Chalk in the 07. He is in that Toyota Tundra as well. He's moved all the way up to, looks like, the 5th position. Looks like he is in that RJ Race Cars Inc. Toyota Tundra. And behind him we got Tim B. Cox in the 19. He's up to 6th position. He's in that AJ Junior Autos Chevy Silverado. Shane Parrish has moved up to 7th position. He's in that 81 ServPro Toyota Tundra. Shane has moved all the way. Actually, he's fallen back from 5th. Probably saving his stuff for right now. And we've already got... Go ahead.
Sorry, another driver that I'm happy to see back in the field here this week. The 99, Chuck Dix. He's in that Arrive Alive pad, the purple pad machine tonight. Hoping for a little bit of luck with that purple color for him tonight. He's been out the last couple races just for his own reasons, and he's running in the 28th position tonight, just looking to have a solid race as the 72 of Ivan Garcia is looking below him. We chatted with him pre-race about the pad organization, and yeah, definitely glad to see Chuck back here in the field this week.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Real quick on Chuck. He is driving that pad-sponsored Chevy Silverado, the number 99. It's a beautiful paint scheme. We have a lot of trucks in here with pad sponsorship on them. But real quick on Chuck, Domino's driver profile real quick. He's in that 99. Chuck is from Pensacola, Florida. His sponsors are tonight. He has pad. He also has other sponsors, TFL Construction, Eck Garage, and Rusty's Towing and Recovery. And I just wanted to mention he did 10 years racing super stocks at Five Flags Speedway. He has 1 win in Opp, Alabama, which is a similar series as the track is Five Flags. That's the name of the city, OPP. And he's got several top 5s back then when he was racing. He is also a big fisherman, Chuck is. He's got a huge boat he takes out on the water down in Florida. I was talking to him before the race. He's getting the engines set up. He had the bottom of it painted, and if I lived in Florida, I'd love to go out on the ocean with Chuck in his boat. Thanks, Curtis.
And it looks like James Ross is to the back bumper of the number 67 of William Hartman, and Joe Johnson in the 83. He's already pitted. I just saw him get by the leaders there, and James Ross to the inside of the 67. Battle for the lead as they get by Chuck Dix, 3 wide into turn 1 there for just a second, and the 51 takes the position before they start to cycle through their pit stops here. It looks like the 83 has gone in. I don't think anybody else has gone in. Maybe the 15 of Jeff T. Martin came down pit road. 99 of Chuck Dix calling his way down pit road this time. So green flag pit stops are starting, and William Hartman, the 67, headed down pit lane. And caution.
Yeah, we'll get that replay pulled up real quick. Looks like the 18 We talked about him just a few minutes ago. He's new to the league. We'll get that replay pulled up. Yeah, Ronald Klein, Curtis. Looks like he was, the tires had gone on that truck. And right as he gets into the corner, oh, it looks like he gets a little bit of contact, actually. It looks Ricky Lake in the 7 Toyota Tundra just barely gets into the back of him, spins him around, and that is our first caution here on lap 34. If you'll cover pit stops, Curtis.
Yeah, sorry, just had to reset my replay controls. I had some issues last week that I had to deal with, and all my stuff was messed up, so just fixed that. Should be good for the next time we need to take a look at a replay. And William Hartman was on his way down pit lane when that caution came out, so if he can stay on the lead lap, that could play perfectly for him.
Yes, hopefully he was able to.
Everybody's headed down pit lane right now, though, as we speak. James Ross has 2 right sides up in the 51 truck. Left sides are up, and we'll see who wins the race off pit road here. Everybody will be taking 4 tires and fuel, and it looks like the 3 of Mark Jackson is going to beat the 51 of James Ross off pit lane, and the 19 of Tim Cox has made his way up there. He qualified in 9th. He was running in the 4th position, and I didn't even see him in the top 10 other than when he started the race in 9th tonight, so surprising to see him up inside the top 5 coming out of pit lane there.
Yeah, it does look like Ricky Lake, like we said on the replay, just barely tagged the 18. He's definitely over the radio chat. Apologize to the 18. He didn't mean to get into him. The closing rate was just a little bit too fast. So
72 machine of Ivan Garcia bringing his truck down pit lane right now. Scored in the 16th position currently. We'll see where he cycles out after he makes his way out of pit lane. He's in the over-the-top paints and designs Chevrolet Silverado with supporting people against distracted driving tonight. So 72 machine looking for a solid run tonight. It looks like he's gonna come out of the pits scored in about 22nd position, with right behind our old leader of William Hartman. So that pit cycle worked out pretty good for Ivan. He was running in about the 28th position before the caution came out, so he did gain a couple positions there. On the other side of things, it worked out horribly for William Hartman, who just decided to maybe he let the 51 of James Ross by and then decided to short pit him, and it just came back to bite him. He finds himself back in the 21st position right now. But back up front, our new leader is the number 3 of Mark Jackson, and James Ross still rides in second with Tim Cox in the 3rd position now. William Locklear in the 4 rides in 4th position, and Gerald Campbell rounding out your top 5 at the moment. Gary Sexton's made his way up to 6th.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Are the lights off on the pace truck?
Looks like the lights are off atop the Mustang pace car, and will be green flag in just under a lap here.
Yes, sir. I want to talk a little bit more about our sponsor tonight, Curtis, real quick. PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. We got a great logo. They've come on actually to sponsor several races this year, Curtis. Like I said, it was formed in memory of Nikki Kalini, who was tragically killed at the age of 19. Fans, when you're driving tomorrow tonight, make sure you're not distracted by coffee, makeup, cell phones, anything. They're going to have, April is actually the month for PAD and People Against Distracted Driving. They're going to have a walk, pad.org. You can get information there. I'll give you more information as we go on in the race. The Venturini Motorsports family, a big racing family in ARCA, has a lot to do with that walk coming up. And like I said, I'll cover some more information about this great organization. Go ahead, Curtis, with the replay. The restart.
The pace car pulls off, and Mark Jackson is gone on the inside. He gets the jump on James Ross, but Tim Cox doesn't quite get the restart that he wants. He's not to the inside of James Ross, and Ross looks like he's going to be able to hold that second position into turn 1 there, and for the looks like for the battle for the 5th position there, Locklear on the outside with Vernon Margheim on the inside. He's made his way all the way up there. He was running outside the top 10 last I checked. So the pit cycle worked out for him. He's made his way up to 7th position now. And Shane Parrish side by side with the 17 of Gary Sexton right now in turn 1, and now Judd Danielson following suit of Shane Parrish and getting by the 17 of Gary Sexton. Now Jack Watts inside the 17 of Gary Sexton. So inside, just not the place to be on restarts here, I don't think.
Yes, Curtis, this is a very challenging track condition. Like you said, the track temperature is up to 95. And looks like we got a battle for the lead, as Mark Jackson is all over the back bumper. James Ross is all over the back bumper of Mark Jackson as they dive off into turn, looks like 1 and 2. As they fly down the back stretch of the truck of Tim B. Cox, the 19. He's got a mirror full of the 6 of Gerald Campbell, as well as the 4 of William Locklear, who's driving that Monster Army Energy truck tonight.
Judd Danielson has made his way inside the top 10 with that caution coming out mid-pit cycle. Just a couple guys getting caught in that, but Judd benefits from it. He rides in 8th, but right behind that 81 of Shane Parrish, and following Vernon Margheim right now. He looks to get below Vernon Margheim in turn 3 here, and they're side by side. Can the 81 of Shane Parrish get the run coming off the corner? It looks like he does. A little bit of a checkup on the front stretch. It looks like somebody may have touched the wall there coming into turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like the number 6 of Gerald Campbell maybe just kissed the wall. And with that, we do want to mention to all the fans who have just joined us, thank you so much. You are watching the Pad 250 live on Off-Road Broadcasting. As we do every Wednesday and Thursday, we give away a free pizza to the first fan who can accurately predict the winner of this race before halfway. Tonight, halfway point is lap 84. It's real simple, fans. All you have to do is text 919-883-7497. You say in the text, driver name to win the race. If you're watching on your device, you can also give that information in the live chat. We check all that before the end of the race. Curtis can attest we've given away about 18 free pizzas the last 20 weeks. And the pizza deal is you get a large 3-topping pizza from any Domino's store in the United States of America, carry out only. We love doing this every single week, so fans, make sure you get your picks in. 919-883-7497. Curtis, what's happening up front?
One thing I just had to note here. I'm not sure if we can get a shot of that number 6 machine of Gerald Campbell and his helmet inside the cockpit there, but that has to be one of the coolest helmets that I've ever seen. And yeah, his truck still looks good after getting into the wall there. You can see that blue helmet with the shield blending in the face and the teeth there. So definitely a cool helmet on that number 6 machine, and he managed to keep his truck clean after getting into the wall that last time by.
Yes, sir. And one more thing, Gerald, in that number 6, he is driving the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. We are big patriots here at Domino's TYJ Racing. We support all military men and women, young and old, past, present, and future. Of course, fans, we would not be able to do what we're doing tonight. You would not be able to watch what we're doing tonight, and the drivers in these trucks would not be able to have as much fun as they're having if we didn't live in a free country, the United States of America. So if it wasn't for the military we have in this great country, we wouldn't have these freedoms. Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah, back up front, James Ross has taken the lead from Mark Jackson. He's 0.6 of a second ahead, and 19 of Tim Cox still holding on strong to that 3rd position. He's got almost 2 seconds back to the 4th position of William Locklear. So top 3 separating themselves from the field right now as this second green flag stint goes on, and we'll see this time if these guys make it as far as they did the last time, and if drivers start to make their way down pit lane, or if they decide to run their fuel right out because they're scared that they're going to get trapped a lap down. So interesting strategies to come now with drivers not really knowing what to expect.
Yes, sir, Curtis. I'm on board, or actually watching the Gary Sexton truck. He's in that 17 pad-sponsored hex cam Chevy Silverado. He's all over the back of the 77 Caterpillar truck of Craig Learman. These trucks are gaining track position here. They're following Jack Watts in that number 66 Southeast Motorsports pad-sponsored truck, and they're following Judd Danielson in that pad-sponsored Domino's 85 Chevrolet Silverado. These guys are trying to get around each other, and they're all trying to catch the leader, but they are bumper to bumper, 4 or 5 back.
Yeah, these guys are bumper to bumper all the way from about 16th position all the way up to 8th. So about an 8 or 9 car lineup, just or maybe even more than that, just running in a single file line. Drivers just taking what they can where they can, and it looks like Ray Richer on the outside slides up a little bit back there in the looks like he's running in the 14th position, and the 70 of Tim Ranger's maybe going to throw it in there in turn 3. Ray holds it strong on the outside there, but the 70 drives it in out of turn 4, and he looks like he's going to get the position this time by as they head down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. And the 15 of Jeff T. Martin now inside Ray Richer, so Ray needs to get back down to that bottom, and it looks like the 28 of Gerald Heffley is now going to be side by side with Ray, and Ray has just lost about 2 or 3 positions in the last lap or lap and a half, and now he's got the My Office HQ truck of Chad Payne hot on his tail.
Yes, sir, Kurt. I was just noticing Ray is obviously doing something smart. He started this race in 24th. He's up to, he was in 14th when we first started talking about him on that outside groove. So I think he's taking care of his equipment tonight in this this section of the second green flag run. And he has a new sponsor on his hood, Pro Auto Service. He also has a sponsor, Amsoil, on that 14 Silverado. He also has pad bumper sticker on the back, tailgate of that truck. So all these drivers are hoping they get into victory lane and get that $5 bonus for winning the race and having Pad, who is a sponsor of our race tonight, on their truck somewhere.
Closing in on the 100 lap to go mark, and it's still James Ross stretching his lead out over Mark Jackson in that 3 machine, out to an 8/10 of a second lead, and Tim Cox has fallen back about 4/10 as well, back to about 1.5 seconds back. And yeah, right now these guys are all just pretty much riding around and making laps. They know that this race still has a long way to go, and they got to keep their trucks clean in order to be there at the end and claim that extra $5 for running Pad on their truck tonight.
Yes, sir. I want to go over a couple more pieces of information while we have a chance here. Pad people against distracted driving. Like I said, we're very happy they're on board here, as the 28 of Rick Heffley is making a move on the 14 of Gary Weston, who's in that K&N Toyota Tundra. Real quick, the walkingwithpad.org fans is where you want to go to donate. Even if you can only donate $1, it all helps support the cause to protect lives. Over the last many years since 2012, when Nikki Kalini lost her life, Pad has raised a lot of money, and they have helped save thousands of lives with their campaign. This walk is going to be happening on April 15th in 2017. Again, you go to walkingwithpad.org to get all the details of that walk. If you can't be there in person to do the walk, you can obviously send them $1, $5. We know a lunch these days is going to run you $7, $8 if you get anything. And so everybody can contribute. I've contributed, and I encourage everybody to. Also,
there's a truck. Sorry, there's a truck down on the apron in turn 1. I'm not sure who that is or if they got moved yet, but no, he's still sitting there. It looks like that's Sean Callist in the 45. He not sure what happened to him.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that up real quick and see what happened.
Looks like he just he was side by side with the one of James Somke. James Somke actually got into the wall about a lap or 2 ago, and he had some damage, and a bunch of trucks were passing him. Sean Kalis was the last of those trucks in the 45, and he just gave the one too much room pretty much and clipped the grass, sent it back through pit lane and spun it around.
Yes, sir. Sean got through the grass. He got loose a little bit. You've probably seen the same replay. He was able to load the truck up just a little bit right before I don't think he hit anything, Curtis. Stopped the truck at the end of pit road. He had to turn it around with getting up in the racing groove. We did not have a caution. That's a real heads-up move for Sean Kalis. He's in that Square D Toyota Tundra, having a great run. This is only his second week in our league. He has already learned a lot and matured a lot. That's another thing you get, fans and drivers that are watching tonight. When you qualify and you're approved for the Dominus TYJ Racing family of leagues. We got 4 leagues now, including our new Dirt Series I'll talk about later. But Sean is a classic example. Started the league 2 weeks ago. He qualified with the tryout race, Curtis. Talked to a lot of veteran drivers in our series who were more than happy to help him for free learn things about paints, about racing grooves, and he had a great finish in the second race. I think he finished inside the top 10.
Yeah, and he's going to have to serve a penalty for unsafe pit entrance there, but he is making his way back out on the track as we speak. He's headed down pit lane and he's past the pit lane exit there. He's down on the apron and headed back out on the track, scored in the 30th position, but still plenty of time to go in this race. He's qualified in the 23rd position, so I'm sure he'd be happy if he could make it back up to his qualifying position from that mistake there. Now 3 laps down, but we'll see if he can make it back up there. He's still got a clean truck.
Yes, sir. He definitely did a great job there. And back to our sponsor, you're watching the Pad 250 here, live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Texas Motor Speedway. A couple more things about Pad real quick, Curtis, for the fans. Believe it or not a lot of people, not everybody in the country knows about Pad. It's a great organization. A couple things to think about, fans. Next time you get behind the wheel, choose not to drive while distracted. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
And Mark Jackson shaving off in that 3 truck, shaving off about a 1/10 a lap off the 51 of James Ross right now. Typically, a lot of times you see guys shave off time, and then when they get to the back bumper, they just can't do anything with it. So he makes up almost a 1/10 again that last time by. So he's closing on that 51 as we come on to the second half of this this fuel run here. I'm not sure exactly what the math is to make it to the end, how many stops these guys need to make or how many they could maybe stretch it to, but right now Mark Jackson looking like the faster truck on the long run as he's closed that gap to, let's see what it is, it's going to be 4/10 of a second this time by, so he's closing. And yeah, Tim Cox back there 2.5 seconds back, still holding on strong to that 3rd position though. So right now it looks like the 51 and the 3 are the trucks to beat tonight if we happen to have a long green flag run.
Yes, sir. One other thing, Curtis, I did want to mention the leader of the race, William Hartman. He sustained a penalty earlier in the race. He started up first. Unfortunately, that penalty knocked him down 2 laps. He's 2 laps down in 29th. He probably has one of the fastest trucks here. If we get a few more cautions, and we hope we do not, but if we do, Curtis, he might be able to get back 1 lap, and with his strategy and his racing talent, he might be able to make up another lap. He's racing in that 67 Aegis Toyota, and like I said, he's got a strong truck. He proved that early in this race, led probably the first 10 or 20. And on the fuel mileage, Curtis, these guys can go approximately 40 laps. We went back green. I'm not sure what lap it was.
It was lap 38, I believe we went back green.
Yes, sir, lap 58.
38. So we're coming up on
30
laps on this run, yeah.
Yes, sir. We started seeing our first pit stops about 30, 35 laps in. So we should start seeing some more pit stops here shortly. And like I said at the beginning of this race, strategy is going to have a lot to do with who pulls off this victory. Of course, everybody is wanting to finish in the top 3 because you do get paid tonight because it's a crown jewel race. And if you've got Pad on your truck, you get an additional $5 if you are in victory lane.
81 of Shane Parrish making a pass on Gerald Campbell for the 4th position there. Shane Parrish has been strong pretty much every race this season, so driving that Serve Pro Toyota Tundra. He's looking to make his way back up to the front, 6.5 seconds off the pace right now.
Yes, he is one of the newer drivers. He's been part of our league here for about a month now, and he's had great finishes. He's been caught up in a couple of incidents as well, which is going to happen here when you're racing. But he is a great driver, and I was just looking for a Domino's driver
Gene
profile.
Collum has brought his truck down pit lane, that Interstate Batteries Toyota Tundra, riding back in the he's 2 laps down, so I'm not sure if he's trying to maybe make a lap back by...
He pitted early on that first sequence and got caught a lap down because he pitted on lap 33, I think, before the first one. So he's probably trying to short pit again, hoping to get fresh tires before another caution comes out, if it does come out. But real quick, Domino's driver profile on Gene Collum. He's in that 76. Gene is from Hendersonville, North Carolina, right down the road from where I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Gene is in the 76. His race team is Johnson Lawler Motorsports. His sponsors are IWraps and Interstate Batteries. Real quick here, he's been in sim racing for 3 years, and he wants to give special thanks to Interstate Batteries, Domino's TYJ Racing, Joe Johnson, and Michael Lawler.
And Mark Jackson has made his way back up within 2 car lengths of the 51 of James Ross, so he's closing some more, and he's looking to make a battle out of it and maybe get in front of him before they head down pit lane to get that advantage.
Yes, getting an advantage, any way you can get one in this race, Curtis, looks like it's going to be what you're going to need to do. You never know what's going to happen over the last, looks like we've got about 97 laps to go. But it looks like pit strategy is going to be a very, very big important factor in who wins this race.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to be prepared for everything. You got to be, you got to be prepared for it to go green flag to the end, and you got to be prepared for it to be an absolute wreck fest. So, but at the same time, you got to pick a strategy, and you got to figure out how many pit stops you're gonna have to make. You can't just kind of run your fuel tank out every time, or you're gonna find yourself losing a lot of time 9 times out of 10. So Mark Jackson got to the back bumper of James Ross there in turn 3 last time by, and he could have drove it in there. Probably stuck his nose below him, but he thought better of it. He didn't really, I guess he didn't know if James was gonna give him that room or not, and he didn't want to cause a wreck. So smart move by Mark Jackson rather, sizing up the 51 truck right now. I think he's just as fast, if not faster than the 51 right now, and he's just trying to figure out how he can get by him, how he can get that run on him and get to the inside before they get to the turn, rather than just throwing it in there when they get to the turn.
Yes, sir. I heard some teams on the communications. Looks like the 9 Office HQ truck of Chad Payne is getting ready to come down pit road. And I do want to mention we got 9 laps left, fans, to get your pick in for the free pizza. If you tuned in late, very simple. Every Wednesday night, every Thursday night, you want to be tuned here to All Pro Broadcasting and Domino's TYJ Racing, either the Dented Fender Truck Series or on Thursday night. You can catch the Premier Xfinity and the Top Shelf Cup. They alternate on Thursday nights. We give away a free large 3-topping pizza every single Wednesday, every single Thursday night when we have a winner. How it works, you text 919-883-7497, and you choose who you think is going to win the race. Before, on this race, halfway is lap 84, so you got about 8 laps to get your pick in. Do not pick Gerald Campbell, Gary Sexton, Mark Jackson, Dustin Lee, Tim Cox. Got a couple people picking Gerald Campbell. So those have already been picked. You want to choose somebody else. If you're also watching on your device, you can also give us your input there in the live chat. We monitor that also. Again, this is a carry-out only large 3-topping pizza from any Domino's store location in the United States of America. Just want to get that in, Curtis.
Yeah, and the 51 of James Ross has brought his truck into the pit lane from the lead, and I also saw the 14 of Gary Weston and the 18 of Mark Fravor, that's Ronald Klein in the 18 actually. He was on pit lane as well, and James Ross looks like he had a pretty good pit stop there. He's made his way back out on the track, and Mark Jackson's got to be coming down any time now. He doesn't want to lose too much time. He's still out on the track. it looks like Mark Jackson is leading a couple laps here, and Ivan Garcia is calling his way down pit lane this time by as well.
Yes, looks like we got 3 wide here. Gerald Campbell in the middle, James Ross on the outside, and Chad Payne on the outside. They cleared that up real quick. These new trucks with fresh tires compared to the slow trucks with old tires, it's about a 2-3 second a lap speed difference. And James Ross is just tearing through the field right now. So is Chad Payne right behind him in that Office HQ Silverado. Ricky Lake has got older tires on. He's just getting past. It looks like the 6 of Gerald Campbell, who just lost a couple positions, is pitting now. And it looks like Mark Jackson, our leader, is on pit road. Curtis, I'm going to cover this pit stop real quick. He made it in safely. He did not lock up the tires. Also here, Mark Jackson is on pit road. I'm going to follow this pit stop real quick. He goes to the left, slides into his pit box perfectly. Mark is a very seasoned veteran. Looks like the right side's going up. He's getting 2 Eagle Goodyear tires on the right. 1 can of Sunoco fuel's going in. They do a tear off on the windshield. Left side's going up. He's definitely getting 4 tires. A 2nd can of Sunoco fuel. Looks like he's down and away. Really good pit stop. Almost gets into the 32. Dustin Lacey comes in, and Mark Jackson is off pit road. We'll see how he cycles in compared to the other drivers.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell, Dustin Lee, and Judd Danielson also coming down pit lane this time.
Who inherited the lead after that? Looks like Tim B. Cox inherited the lead. He just slides into his pit stall. Right side's going up. He's getting 2 Goodyear Eagles on the right side. He's in that AJ Junior Autos Chevrolet Silverado. 2nd can of Sunoco fuel going in Tim B. Cox's truck. Left side tires going on and windshield tear off, and he is away cleanly.
Gary Sexton also on pit lane right now. The left sides are up on that Hexcam number 17 Chevrolet Silverado, and right now scored in the 2nd position. That is going to change when this cycles back through. I'm sure he'll still be inside the top 10 though, but James Ross back up to 3rd position, so he cycled his way back onto the lead lap, and almost everybody's cycled their way back onto the lead lap now from that pit stop. So
yes, I'm following.
Anybody's still not pitted? I don't believe so.
Yeah, I was just going to say Gary Sexton in that Hexcam pad sponsored truck. He's losing positions coming off the pit road, getting up to speed. Curtis, you can tell us about these trucks. They're pushing out about, I think it's 625 horsepower. These NASCAR Camping World Silverado and Toyota Tundra. And it takes a good 2 laps to get these trucks wound all the way up here at Texas. So hopefully Gary Sexton will be able to cycle back in. He's back to 13th now, but he's going to make up a lot of ground with his new tires.
And James Ross gets real close to the 45 of Sean Kalis there, coming out of turn 2. 51 just on a charge, and the 45 just not moving quite as quickly. So 51 has made his way back up to the lead, and he has over a 6-second lead over that number 3 of Mark Jackson now. So pitting.
Yeah, and, James Ross in that number 51. James Ross is leading, like you said, Curtis, and he does have a big gap there.
Yeah, that's what that. He only pitted about a lap or 2 or 3 before the 3 machine of Mark Jackson. So just that's what old tires will do. Mark Jackson stayed out to lead a couple laps, get that extra point. Although he had already led a couple laps, so he already had that point. So. But yeah, that's just what the pit cycle does. If you stay out too many laps after somebody else pits, you're gonna lose a lot of time if there's not a caution to save you. So
yes, sir. Hopefully he'll learn that lesson before the next cycle of pit stops. Why don't we go through the field real quick here, Curtis? If you want to start with the leader, go through the top 5.
Yeah, the 51 of James Ross. He started in 6th tonight, and he's led a lot of laps tonight. He's up there in the lead right now, like I said, 6.5 seconds ahead of the 3 of Mark Jackson, who qualified in 10th up to 2nd. And Jeff T. Martin, after that pit cycle in the 15, he's in 3rd. He started in 12th tonight. Tim Cox in the 19, he started in 9th. He made his way back up to the top 3 during that last green flag stint, and he is currently holding on to the 4th position with the 81 of Shane Parrish rounding out your top 5, holding on to that position that he qualified in, which was the 5th position there. So good run for those guys so far, and still got 19 drivers in the lead lap.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Curtis. Looks like in 6th running right now we have Gerald Campbell, and that veteran of Foreign Wars Chevrolet Silverado. No scars, no story on the tailgate of his truck. In 7th we have William Locklear in that number 4 Monster Army Energy Chevrolet Silverado. In 8th, Tyler Chalk in that 07 RJ Race Cars Inc. Toyota Tundra. He's having a great run. In 9th, we have Judd Danielson has moved all the way up to 9th. Looks like he started back in 19th, so he's made up a lot of positions in that Domino's TYJ Racing. Oh, yes, we did. Chevrolet Silverado, the 85. In 10th, we have Jack Watts in the Southeast Motorsports pad. I think he's also got an over-the-top paint sponsorship on his 66 machine. In 11th, we have Vernon Margam having a great run tonight. Looks like Vernon started all the way back in 18th. He's up to 11th in that GTR Toyota Tundra. Looks like in 12th, we have Gary Sexton. Talked about him. He's in that Pad Hexacom Chevrolet Silverado 17. 13th, we have Craig Learman. He has a great paint job on his truck. Caterpillar, great sponsor for Craig. He's a veteran driver in our series. He's up to 13th. Dustin Lee, we talked about him on his pit stop. He is in that Olive Hill Welding Chevrolet Silverado. He is up to 14th position. Looks like he started in 7th, so Dustin's got a little bit of work cut out for him to get back up to the top 10. 15th, we have Tim Rangers, like we talked about earlier. His wife Michelle spots for him, and they're doing a great job as a team tonight. He's in that JTM Motorsports Chevrolet Silverado.
Is that a helicopter landing pad on the back in the bed of his truck?
That's a helicopter landing pad. It's also the Align Motorsports Chevrolet Silverado number 70. Great looking paint on his truck tonight. 16th, we have Michael Fravor. I don't think we talked about him all night. He's in that Twinkies number 36 Toyota Tundra. He started back in 29th. Curtis, he does this every week, it seems like. Starts in the back and makes his way to the front. Would not surprise me to see Michael end up in victory lane or at least a top 5 finish before the race is out. 17th, we have Andrew Kessler. Haven't talked much about him. He is also on that Aegis Motorsports team in the Toyota Tundra. He's running in 17th tonight. He does have 1 victory in our Premier Xfinity Series. 18th, Gerald Heffley in that 28 Texaco Haviland Toyota Tundra. He's having a pretty good run in 18th. Looks like in 19th, Joe Johnson in that FedEx IRAPS Toyota Tundra. He started back in 31st, so he's made a lot of spots up. It's kind of hard to do without cautions. And rounding out your top 20, looks like 20. Yeah, Ray Richer in that 44. And then in 21st, Chad Payne. That's a run through the field, at least the top 21. I also want to talk a little bit more, Curtis, real quick, unless you see a battle on the track right now, about our sponsor, because we haven't had a chance to get a commercial break in yet, fans. We do appreciate you being here, and we are not going to go to commercial until we get a caution flag, which we might not get tonight, but you are watching the Pad 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting here from Texas Motor Speedway.
Gerald Heffley into the wall hard out of turn 2 there, and James Ross almost got a piece of him. That had to have been a little bit scary for the 51 truck of James Ross there leading the race, and the 28 truck of Gerald Campbell just gets into the wall hard out of turn 2, and that was a close one for James Ross, as well as Gary Weston and Andrew Kessler, behind them.
Yes, and Gerald did a very heads-up move, got up into the wall, and he kept the truck up against the wall instead of coming back down. That was a great move on his part, and we are staying green. So it gives me a little bit more time to talk about our sponsor. Again, it's People Against Distracted Driving. 250 here, live from Texas Motor Speedway. Real quick, Pad, if you didn't hear this earlier, fans, we do appreciate you being here. It was formed, the organization, it is a non-profit formed in memory of Nikki Collini, who was tragically killed November 15th, 2012 at age 19. Since 2012, Pad has raised thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they have saved thousands of lives in their movement around and across the country. If you've never heard of PAD, that's fine. I haven't even heard about them until a couple of years ago. They're a great organization. They do take donations. You can go to pad.org to find out more information. They're actually sponsoring a walk coming up on April 15th. April is PAD Awareness, Distracted Driving Awareness Month. You can go to pad.org also to get more information on this walk. If you cannot participate, you can definitely donate. Even if it's $1, it will help. Make sure you choose not to drive while distracted. Fans, we want you to stay alive. Do not text and drive. What kind of battles have you seen, Curtis?
Not much battling out there.
I got one right here. Pardon me about that. Sorry about that. It looks like the Michael Fravor in that 36 Toyota old school Twinkies is making a move on the 70 of Tim Ringer's. The truck with the helicopter on the back, landing pad. Michael Fravor will complete that pass in the 36 truck. He's moving himself up to 15th position. That means he's moved from 29th all the way up to 15th. Sorry, Curtis. I'll be quiet a minute and let you get some words in.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, it looks like everybody's single-filed out for the most part, and I see Craig Lerman making a pass on James Somke, but that is not for position. That is James Somke's the lap truck right now, and Craig Lerman running in the 13th position in that 77 Caterpillar Chevrolet Silverado. So now that we've been green for this long, and it's been this much, these guys have all came down pit lane. That's when it really starts to stretch out, and almost nobody is. I mean, I see Gerald Campbell and Shane Parrish. They're still within half a second of each other, but a lot of these guys are just really spaced out and running their own lines, and yeah, just makes for not much side-by-side battling on the track, but more strategy battling. Who's going to go in when, who's going to save their tires the best, and who can maybe stretch that fuel and save themselves an extra pit stop is going to be the questions now.
Yes, sir, Curtis, and I've mentioned this in a lot of our races fans. You've probably been watching racing for a long time. If you're brand new to racing, if you're brand new to All-Pro Broadcasting and Domino's TYJ Racing, what it takes to win one of these races, and Curtis, you can back me up on this because you won 15, 16 last year, is that correct?
Yeah, I think it was 8 or 9 in the truck series, but 15 overall. But yeah, you really need to have everything go your way to get a win. You kind of you gotta drive it properly. Obviously, have the right strategy, but you also have to have everything fall your way. You can't you can just get caught a lap down on your pit cycle, your normal pit cycle, and just get screwed out of the win. So just because you're the fastest truck all night doesn't mean that you're always going to get the win, and strategy does play a big factor in what goes into these races.
Yes, I like to say there are 5 or 6 things you've got to be perfect at, as close to perfect as possible. You've got to have perfect driving talent, which you do, Curtis. A lot of these drivers do. You've got to have a perfect crew chief. You've got to have your spotter making perfect calls all night long. You've got to have perfect pit stops. You can't speed on pit road. The crew cannot drop a lug nut. Can't drop the fuel can out of the fuel box. Out of the pit box. You've also got to have luck on your side to get one of these races. When we've seen guys lead almost the whole race, they come into pit, caution comes out, get trapped a lap down, never can make it back up. So the winners of these races have all those things put together in one piece.
Looks like Dustin Lee smacked the wall last time coming at a turn 2. Got quite a bit of damage on that Olive Hill Welding number 32 machine, and not having the night he wanted, running back in the 13th position. He qualified in 7th. Probably thought he had a top 5 piece tonight, and I think if he had any shot of it still, he just ruined it because the right side of his truck is pretty wrecked, and we've been green for quite a while, so chances aren't looking too good of him getting time to repair that under yellow.
Yes, sir. When you get some serious damage, you don't get a lot of time to get your truck fixed unless you have some caution flag laps, and we haven't had any of those tonight. Did want to do a couple more Domino's driver profiles here while we got a chance. Gary Weston in that 14 K&N truck. Gary Weston, he's in the 14. He is from Barrie, Ontario, Canada. Did I say that right, Curtis?
Yep, that's right.
Yes, sir. His sponsors are J&R Pallet, He's been racing with us for over 2 years. And Gary's got a thriving business as far as a great day job. He's a very loyal, very talented veteran driver. He always sticks these races out, and other than some bad luck he's had in the past, he's doing really good this year.
Yeah, Barry's actually only about an hour away from me. Gary's helped me out with quite a few things whenever I've needed him, so great guy there in that number 14 K&N Toyota Tundra, and right now he's riding in the 28th position. It looks like he's brought his... No, he hasn't brought his truck down pit lane, so not quite having the night he wanted. It looks like he's got quite a bit of damage on the right side of his truck on the hood there, so, and the fender, but he'll get some good runs this season, and I'm sure he's still got a chance to get it back out there tonight.
Yes, sir. I got a battle on the track. The 17 of Gary Sexton is making a move on the inside of the 15. Looks like he's able to complete that pass on Jeff T. Martin pretty easily, actually, and that'll put Gary Sexton up into the 11th position. I think he was saving the tires from the last pit stop, and he's making a move now. He's only back up to where he qualified. Actually, he's up to 9th position now. And I did want to highlight a couple more drivers, big movers we call them in our field tonight, fans. It looks like the biggest one we have right now in the top 10 is Judd Danielson in that 85 Domino's TYJ sponsored Oh Yes We Did truck. He started back in 19th, Curtis. He's all the way up in 5th position. Matter of fact, Judd had a top 5 in the truck race last week. I think he finished 3rd. And he had a top 2 finish the next night, Thursday, in the Premier Xfinity race at Kansas. So he's had a couple of top 5s the last week, and he's looking to add to it, Curtis.
Yeah, and James Ross short pits Mark Jackson again, so we'll see how much he stretches out that lead. I think it was almost up to 8 seconds when he brought that Traxxas machine down pit road. Mark Jackson's still out on the track, and actually James Ross is passing Mark Jackson right now, so I'm not sure Mark Jackson is he's gonna probably be down almost half a lap by the time he gets back out there.
Yes, sir. It looks like, Curtis, we are on lap 110, about to complete. We got 3 wide racing here. We got Vernon Margam in the middle. We've got Craig Learman in the 77 cat truck on the low side. Looks like he just got new tires, and he will make that pass on Vernon Margam pretty easily. That'll drop Vernon back to 15th, and William Locklear is in 7th. Looks like they got around him. He's probably waiting to come in for his next pit stop. But this is where the strategy really comes into play, Curtis. Now we're on lap... Actually, I was wrong. We're on lap 112, it looks like. So we've got about 55, 56 laps to go before the end of this race, Curtis. And these drivers are definitely going to have to make this one more pit stop if we stay green. Then it's going to be who can save their tires and their equipment the most and the best for the last 40 lap shootout.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many more laps Mark Jackson can go. I don't think he can go another 10 or 15 laps and then pit. Even if he does, I'm not positive that that 51 of James Ross wouldn't catch back up to him with that extra pit stop and having the newer tires pretty much the entire time.
Yes, another driver looks like he's made up a couple more positions. Shane Parrish in that number 81 Serv Pro Toyota Tundra. He's started in 5th. He's been as far back as 10th, and he's made his way back up to 3rd here. He's like 7 seconds back from the leader, Mark Jackson. And so we do have some people up front, like Tim B. Cox started 9th, is up to 2nd. This pit strategy for this last pit stop, I just heard the 44 of Ray Richards about to come in. He has been a master at saving his tires. If he can do that again on this last green flag run with new tires, he could end up with a podium finish tonight, Curtis.
And Mark Jackson's still out on the track. I'm not sure of his strategy unless he thinks he can go another 10 or 12 laps so he can make a 40 lap run to the end. I'm just not sure on the strategy. If anything, I thought he'd want to pit before the 51 of James Ross to gain some time on him, but not the case. Clearly Tim Cox still out on the racetrack right now as well, so gonna take a look and see when Mark Jackson actually pitted, and it looks like it was lap 80, so he can probably make it to about lap 120. He needs to save about needs to save probably 5 laps of fuel to make it to the end on one more stop, if he can make it to lap 127.
That's definitely what he's probably doing. Like you said earlier, you've got to have a strategy and stick with it. But sometimes, Curtis, you got to change your strategy. This has had a green flag look to it all night long. One of the best races we've seen as far as green flag runs, Curtis. And Mark Jackson's probably changed his strategy. And he's thinking, if I can make it on one more pit stop, I'm going to trap a lot of these trucks down the lap. And he will only be battling with just a handful of trucks to get this win. Looks like right now we only have 10 trucks on the lead lap. So if he can stretch it and make only one more pit stop, that will be mission accomplished as far as that goes.
Yeah, I mean, if these guys can only go 40 laps on a tank of fuel, he pitted on lap 80. He's going to have to pit with, he's got to be almost out of fuel right now. I don't see him out there saving. And I don't think he expects to make it 47 laps on the final green flag run, so
he's definitely
we'll see
right.
what he does here. I think it's possible to save 2.5 laps of fuel per run. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to save the whole 7 laps of fuel that he's going to need on this next cycle after he pits.
Yes, I'm watching him right now, and he's running that extreme high groove up top. He's staying out of the way of these fast trucks that have got brand new rubber, brand new tires. And another one of those classic examples is the 98 of Andrew Kessler. He must have just come off of pit road recently. He's got brand new rubber, and he's passing Mark Jackson like he's standing still. So the 3 is definitely, as he just touches the wall there, he is saving the fuel, looks like, and trying to stretch this to make it only on one more lap. I just heard the 4 of William Locklear's coming down pit road. He might have been trying to stretch it on fuel as well. But this is definitely going to be interesting, Curtis, to see how this plays out. And it looks like the 19, of Tim B. Cox, who was quite a few seconds behind Mark Jackson, is almost caught up to him now.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but Tim Cox has made his way up to Mark Jackson. Maybe Tim Cox could be on the same strategy as Mark Jackson, and maybe both of those guys will be battling for the lead instead of the 51 of James Ross, who... James Ross is... Where is James Ross right now? I can't... Oh, James Ross is in the 8th position right now, currently. And there's a caution. This changes everything. Mark Jackson and Tim Cox are going to get to pit, and there's going to be about 10 trucks on the lead lap. Looks like the 76 of Gene Collum going for a ride through the grass.
Yeah, we'll get this replay pulled up, and as they say, this changes everything.
It looks like the 07 of Tyler Chalk was slowing to go down pit road. 76 of Gene Collum had to swerve to avoid him, got up into the wall, and then Jack Watts just had nowhere to go, spun him into the grass. That triggers our second caution of the night here on lap 119, sorry.
Yes, that definitely looked like a racing deal. Truck slows down to come in pit road. If you've got new tires, you're catching them so fast, you could barely even keep. I think he did not hit the 07 of Tyler Chalk, but he did have to slow his momentum getting the wall. And then, like you said, the 66 came along. 66 of Jack Watts couldn't get it slowed down enough. And we did have our next caution. And fans, we are going to take our one and only quick commercial break. Hopefully one and only. You are watching the Pad 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting here from Texas. We'll be right back with what happened on Pit Stops, fans. We'll be right back.
Garrett Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
Welcome back, fans. You're back to the Pad 250. We just went back green, Curtis. What are you seeing? A lot of side-by-side racing here. The guys have got brand new rubber on the trucks.
Yeah, Tim Cox, Vernon Markheim, and Judd Danielson were 3 wide for just a second there, coming out of turn 2 there, and Danielson on the top right now with Markheim to his inside. Markheim clears him, and Judd follows in behind him. Mark Jackson was our leader off of pit road that time, and Gerald Campbell is up to the 2nd position. So Mark Jackson's strategy of staying out is going to work for him, and it's going to be interesting to see if these guys can make it all the way to the end on fuel. I think these guys probably would have had to been saving under caution to even have a chance at it.
Yes, sir. Curtis says we have the restart. I'm going to give us a real quick through the field, just the top 5 or 10, so where all the fans know what's going on here. We do have Mark Jackson leading. Gerald Campbell, he has moved all the way from 8th up to 2nd. After those pit stops, Tim B. Cox is 3rd. Vernon Markheim has moved all the way up to 4th position. As he's getting passed right now on the inside by Judd Danielson, looks like he's making an inside groove work. As they scream down the back stretch, although they're side by side, Vernon Markheim is going to battle back on the outside. Vernon, it looks like he's going to have that pass completed by Judd Danielson. So move Judd up to 4th, and move Vernon back to 5th.
Right behind them, Craig Lerman in the 77 Caterpillar Chevrolet, and Michael Fravert in the 36 Twinkies machine. They're battling side by side. It looks like Fravert clears Lerman in turns 1 and 2 as they head down the backstretch, and Fravert making his way up through the field. He had a couple wins last year in the Truck Series, so doesn't have one yet this year, but he started in 29th tonight, and he's all the way up to the 6th position, so biggest mover in the field so far, I think, and at the moment anyway, and we'll see if he can make his way back up there. Right now, James Ross, our old leader who led quite a bit of this race, I'd say over half of it to this point. He's 2.7 seconds back in the 7th position, so I think he needs a long run to make his way back up here, and I'm not sure if just one run is enough for him.
Yes, thanks, Curtis. And back up front, it looks like we've got a battle for the lead as Gerald Campbell has caught right almost up to the back bumper there of Mark Jackson in the 3. He probably needs a couple more laps to get around him as he dives it down on the inside. And Tim B. Cox hasn't made up more ground. But Judd Danielson is making a move as we got a big stack of cars behind him. We got Vernon Markheim. James Ross is making a move. He just gets underneath the Twinkies truck we were just talking about with Michael Fravert. And go ahead, Curtis.
Sorry, it looks like the 07 truck was having a little bit of problems there. He was up there inside the top 10 and had a little bit of connection issues, and now he's where is he there? It looks like he's letting everybody by, and he's scored laps down. He already was laps down, but just getting scored more laps down now, so unfortunate evening for that 07 of Tyler Chalk.
Yeah, he was having a great run. Of course, that happens sometimes. Some of these trucks run 2 different batteries. Some of these guys only run 1 battery to save weight. And And obviously, he didn't have enough juice in the truck, and he's definitely not going to have a good finish tonight. How's it looking up front, Curtis?
It's looking like Mark Jackson still 4/10 ahead on that number 6 machine of Gerald Campbell, who had definitely a few solid runs at the beginning of the season and just been bit by bad luck the last couple weeks, but he's found himself back up here in the 2nd position with under 40 laps to go in this one. So closing in on 30 laps to go, Gerald Campbell in the right place at the right time. He qualified in 8th tonight and been having a solid run all night, just not a top 2 or a top 3 night. So he's back up there in the 2nd position, and he's got his sights set on Mark Jackson. He's within reach. He's only half a second back.
Thanks, Curtis. I was going to look a little bit further back in the field. It looks like Jack Watson, that number 67 Southeast Motorsports Domino's TYJ truck, is running in 10th. And he started back in 13th. I'm looking to see who back in the back of the top 10 or 15, Curtis, on the lead lap, which is only the top 11 drivers, which is Tim Rangers, who's having a good run himself in at 70. Wondering who back here can maybe make a threat and really take care of their equipment over these last 25, 30 laps to make a run for Mark Jackson. At this point, it looks like Mark Jackson and Gerald Campbell have got this thing in the bag, but I'm not going to say that because you never can tell what can happen. Those guys might not be able to make it on fuel, and somebody else might save their tires even more than they can.
Yeah, James Ross has shaved off 0.8 of a second since the last time we talked about him just a few laps ago. So he's under 2 seconds. He's got the gap down to under 2 seconds behind Mark Jackson now. He's got. I don't know if he got to. I'm sure he did get to pit because he didn't get trapped a lap down. So they're on equal tires, and he's charging. He's still got 3 more trucks to pass before he gets to Mark Jackson, but he is to the inside of that number 85 of Judd Danielson. Danielson was hard charging on the 19 of Tim Cox, so I'm sure he's going to let him by easily and maybe try and take the position, let James do the work to make the pass, and then just follow James through. So we'll see what happens there, but James Ross makes his way back up to the 4th position. Gap now down to 1.4 seconds, so he's charging fast, and I think he might have enough time. We got 27 laps to go this time by.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I was wondering, Curtis. James is making a big move here early with 27 laps to go. I'm not sure if he's going to have any of his tires left, as it looks like Tim B. Cox in the 19 is making a move on the inside of Gerald Campbell. So is Gerald Campbell trying to save his equipment right now, so he's realizing we might have a little bit longer. As James Ross almost gets into him, James Ross makes the pass on the low side. So Gerald Campbell has given up 2 positions all of a sudden. Curtis, I don't know if something's wrong with his truck. If we can get in touch with his crew chief, find out, or if he's just saving his equipment, let these guys chase down Mark Jackson. And maybe Gerald Campbell is hoping for the next 20 laps, 25 laps to go green, and he'd come back on him.
Yeah, I don't see any damage on that truck, so maybe he just got tight coming out of the corner, lost about half a second alone there, but James Ross has brought that gap almost inside a second there, and he is coming on that number 19 of Tim Cox and the number 3 of Mark Jackson. He is not very far behind. He's closing the gap rapidly.
Yes, sir. Another driver I wanted to talk about was William Locklear in that number 4 Monster Energy truck. He is running in 12th position right now. I understand that he got trapped in his 1 lap down. He's the first truck 1 lap down. If we get another caution, he'll get his lap back. He pitted before the last caution we had, which is what caught him a lap down. He qualified 3rd, Curtis. William Locklear is always running up front, and I think if he get his 1 lap back, he's going to have something to say at the end of this race.
Yeah, William Locklear, he started up in the 3rd position, just didn't seem to have the long run speed that Ross and Jackson are showing, so I think he'll need a little bit of luck to get back on the lead lap and put himself in the right position where he can just get a couple under a 10 lap stint and maybe hold on to that lead.
Yes, sir, Curtis, while these trucks are stretched out all around this 1.5 mile oval down in Texas, I do want to talk about our sponsor one more quick time. That way we can cover the end of this race without any kind of interruptions. Fans, thanks again for watching the Pad 250 live on All Pro Broadcasting. Pad, people against distracted driving. organization is non-profit. They were formed in memory of Nikki Collini, who was tragically killed by a distracted driver back in 2012 at the age of 19. You can go to pad.org to find out all information and, more importantly, to donate, fans. We all choose to spend our money in different places, and I can tell you what, sending $1, $5, $10 to PAD is one of the best ways you can contribute to any organization in the country these days. Choose not to drive while distracted, fans. Stay alive. Do not text and drive.
James Ross still closing that gap on the number 3 of Mark Jackson. 51 truck has he's closed that gap by over 2 seconds. The gap is not closing quite as quickly now. I think James Ross actually lost a little bit of time that last time by. He knows it's crunch time. They're coming to 20 to go this time by, so James Ross just maybe wore out the tires a little bit too much. I could be wrong. Maybe Mark Jackson just was saving, and James Ross definitely had to get on it to get by those other guys. So Ross kind of forced to burn his tires a little bit more than he normally would have, and we'll see if he still has enough for Mark Jackson, as the gap is pretty much holding to about 6 to 10 car lengths, I'd say right now, about 5/10 of a second.
Thank you for that update, Curtis. I have heard on radio communications quite a few drivers, 2 or 3 actually, have decided to come down pit road at this point. I think all those drivers are in trucks that are 1 lap or more down. I'm not sure if they're trying to make a strategy move, but it'll be interesting to see if they can get on and off of pit road safely and we stay green, and what kind of strategy we're going to have for James Ross, Tim B. Cox in 3rd, and our leader of the race, Mark Jackson.
And another thing is, we don't know if these guys can make it the whole way on fuel. I know there's going to be guys that try it, and I'm just not sure if it's going to work. I think if they've planned ahead and saved fuel for enough of this run, that they can do it. But those guys aren't going to be that far up there, so I mean, they're going to have to hope on these guys running out and not being able to make it. So a little bit of a risk to start saving at the start of the fuel run, not knowing if you're already going to make it and slowing yourself down a little bit. But yeah, it's just gonna, I'm not sure if these guys can make it. It's going to be a 40 lap run plus the pace laps that these guys had to run, and normally you can run about 40 like you said, just strictly on the tank. So a little bit of saving that's going to need to be done, I think, to make it to the end without pitting.
Alright, man.
Racket.
Caution is out.
And we have
Gerald Campbell in the 6 machine over on his lid, tumbling down the backstretch.
We'll get that replay pulled up, Curtis. And this, for a second time tonight, will change all the strategy we've been talking about.
That is Gerald Campbell in that 6 machine from the 5th position. It looks like he just pushed up to the wall, clipped it, went back down to the apron, tumbled over, came back up on the track just a little bit, and had guys coming by him, triggered the caution. I think you're going to see almost everybody come down pit lane to at least make sure that they can make it on. Actually, they should be able to save and make it on fuel now, so it's going to be interesting to see if these guys come down pit lane or not.
Yeah, fortunately, Curtis, that was a 1-truck incident. Hopefully Gerald is not injured. I'm sure he had his seatbelts tight and fast, his Hans device on. He was up on the side of that truck for a few seconds there as the emergency workers were trying to get him out of that truck, but that was a serious impact there, and luckily just that 1 truck. Yeah, let us know if anybody's coming down pit road, Curtis, because this is where the crew chief makes the big bucks.
Jackson, Ross, and Cox all coming down pit lane. It looks like Judd Danielson going to stay out. Or no, Judd Danielson not going to stay out. Somebody's going to stay out, though. I'm not sure who that is. The 77 of... No, I'm sorry. I'm getting things all jumbled up here. I think those are all lap down trucks that are staying out.
Yes, I'm looking right now, Curtis, real quick. It
looks like Michael Fravert and Vernon Markheim have stayed out.
And William Locklear stayed out, it looks like here. He was on the lead lap. Judd Danielson did come down pit road. Let us know how the coming off pit road is, and I'll give an update real quick on who stayed out. I think even
Yeah, Vernon Margheim did pit. Sorry about that. He is come out right ahead of Judd Danielson in the 3rd position. It looks like not going to end up being the 3rd position because a couple trucks stayed out there.
Yeah, my bad. William Locklear was the first truck 1 lap down, so he was not on the lead lap. He's going to get his lap back.
Fravert is on the lead lap though, and he has stayed out there. It looks. I'm not sure if he's just doing it to lead a lap, but I think he'll be the only one that stays out there, and that's just not going to be enough to hold off the leaders. He might as well just stay out and lead the lap, which it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do. So he was running in the 6th position, and he's basically thrown that position away now by coming down a lap later than everybody else.
Yes, and on the race off of pit road, I was just looking back. It looks like James Ross did beat Mark Jackson off of pit road, followed by Tim B. Cox, Vernon Margheim, and Judd Danielson in that order. So it'll be really interesting to see how this restart shapes up. And fans, we are going to stay here with you. We've got exactly going to have, looks like, Curtis, what, 14 laps, 13, 14 laps to get to the finish. And it does look like
Can you try and get a hold of the 51 of James Ross here for just a second?
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, it's looking like the only truck that stayed out there was the Twinkies machine. That would be, although I see Tim Rangers has stayed out, but he was a lap down, I think. So these trucks were probably staying out to get the wave around, get back on the lead lap, which is actually a pretty good strategy move. With as few laps as we have left, getting one of your laps back is really the smart thing to do. And just a quick update, looks like Michael Fravert did end up, looks like he's going to be running in 10th position here. So he did come back down pit road. He did stay out the lead lap. Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, it looks like we got a hold of the number 51 of James Ross, getting ready to go back green flag in just a lap here. You made your way back up front. Do you think you can keep it up there for the next 15 laps? You had a little bit of a rough race. You led quite a few laps, then got shuffled back in the field. What do you think for these next 15 laps?
Well, you know, we just can't leave anything on the table at this point. We're going to give it our best here. Mark's been good on the longer run. We've actually been a little better on the short runs. So we're going to give it what we can give it and see if we can't come out in victory lane.
All right, good luck, James. Headed back to green. We'll let you go.
All right, thanks, Curtis.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you. So it definitely looks like this restart's going to be interesting. Just to give you an update, it's going to be James Ross, Mark Jackson, Vernon Margheim, Tim B. Cox, Judd Danielson, Gary Sexton, Shane Parrish, Michael Fravert, William Locklear, and the pace car is in. And James Ross gets a great launch here with about 12 laps to go. Tim B. Cox is fighting hard on the inside of the 3 truck. Looks like Tim is going to clear him here.
So you heard it from the 51 of James Ross himself. He thinks he's a little bit better on the short run. He thinks Mark Jackson is a bit better on the long run. I kind of thought the opposite. I thought, you know, Mark Jackson was pulling a little bit on him on the short run. James Ross just absolutely destroyed him on the long run. So, but
and we got contact, and the flag is back out. We're gonna get that replay pulled up, fans. It looked like it was the 85. Got a little bump. Give us just a second, fans. It looks like the 85 was in. A couple other things. Yeah, we got a couple other things. I saw the 28 getting loose, but I think the original contact was the truck behind the 85 of Judd Danielson. Or Judd might have got on the apron here. We're pulling the replay up right now. Just give us a second.
yeah, it looks like a lot of trucks wrecked on the front stretch there.
Yeah, right then it looks like Judd just barely got on the apron, slowed his momentum. Gary Sexton had nowhere to go, just barely got into the back of Judd. And then Shane Parrish got into the 17, and quite a few other trucks were involved there. Curtis, what'd you see? And you think everybody's staying out here with just a handful of laps to go?
Yeah, I think so. We got under 10 laps to go, and I think the pit crews are off for the night now. You got what you got on the track, and you got to deal with it. So, looks like Mark Jackson is going to start in third with Tim Cox to the outside. So we'll see if Tim can get a good jump on the outside and maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to give everybody another chance. If you go ahead and tell us, Curtis, if anybody made any changes there in the running order.
Yeah, well, I think it just looks like Tim Cox and Mark Jackson might have swapped positions from that last time by, and I saw Jack Watts get all kinds of sideways, but he still looks like he's running in the 6th position. Good job saving it to him. Andrew Kessler was also stopped in that wreck, and he's in the 8th position, so I'm not sure exactly what happened in that wreck and who all got shaken up. I know Judd Danielson had to bring it down pit lane, but I think he did get it slowed down in time and maybe got an unsafe pit entry because the caution was already out. He's now scored a lap down. Unfortunate for him, he was inside.
Yes,
the
sir,
top
Curtis. Curtis, I was able to get a hold of Gary Sexton involved in that mishap. Gary, what happened from your point of view?
Yeah, not really sure. I feel really bad because I got in the back of Judd, but he kind of just stopped coming out of the corner. Someone said he might have been serving a penalty, but I don't know if he called that out or not. If he did, I apologize because I totally missed that memo. But if he did it, I don't know. But I just got in the back of Judd, and I feel bad. I feel really bad about it. We're all having a really good run.
Yes, sir, Gary. Things happen like that. Looks like from our point of view from the blimp, we got communication from the cameraman in the blimp. It looked like Judd might have just barely got on the apron, lost a tad of momentum. You were right there, couldn't have done anything. Hey, we wish you luck on this restart. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, 10-4, thank you.
Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, lights are still on atop the pace car right now. Looks like we're going to get a restart probably with about 5 laps to go in this race, and that means that this is probably going to be our final restart on the night. We're not going to get a chance to go back green flag. As I say, every time we end up in this situation, iRacing just doesn't have a green-white checkered system, so we don't get a chance to re-rack them up inside of 5 laps to go. So I do believe this is going to end up being the final restart.
Yes, sir. We had a lot of green flag racing tonight, and these drivers are definitely going to be ready here for the next few laps. This is going to be a very exciting finish, Curtis. It's going to be hard to know exactly who's going to win this one. We definitely got some serious players up front, and Tim B. Cox, like you said, is up to 2nd. So this restart's going to be pretty incredible. And Vernon Margam, look at him in the 33, is all the way up to 4th, starting 18th. Also, Jack Watts started 13th. He is up to 6th. And there we go. Michael Fravert started 29th. He's up to 7th. Andrew Kessler, he's made his way all the way up to 8th. A lot of these guys have gotten a lap back. William Locklear got the wave round last time in the number 4 monster truck. He started 3rd. He's in 9th, but he's still going to have something to say about this to finish this race. Joe Johnson, look at him. He started 21st up to 10th. And Judd, although he just had that mishap, is still running 11th, 1 lap down.
And it looks like the 51 of James Ross electing to take the outside lane on this restart. We haven't seen anybody do that yet tonight, but I know a couple weeks ago in the Xfinity practices, I tried taking the outside line, and if that inside guy cannot pass you, so a lot of times he'll just lay back a little bit, half a truck length, and to really make sure that he does not pass you before they get to the line. And James Ross knows that. He's taking the outside, hoping that Tim Cox gives him that little bit of room and he can get clear before they even get to turn 1. But also, he doesn't want Mark Jackson to get right by the 19 of Tim Cox. He thinks he has a lot better chance of fending off the 19 than the 6.
And the green is out, and James Ross gets a great jump.
Yeah, James Ross gets a great jump. It looks like Tim Cox back in the 2nd position there. Vernon Markheim in 3rd. Mark Jackson in 4th. He's going to have to make his way back by 2 trucks. And that smart decision by James Ross there. If James started on the inside, he probably would have let Mark Jackson get right by those two outside trucks, and he'd be right on his back bumper right now. So
And
this
these
is what
tractors-
James thought was his best shot at keeping all three of these trucks behind him, and I think that was a smart move.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Thank you so much. It does look like they're single file, except for we do have Michael Fravert in that 36 Twinkies truck making a move around Jack Watts. That'll be picking up the 6th position. Looks like the others, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, are kind of strung out here. I'm going to look for any other battles behind here. Looks like we got side-by-side racing. What are you seeing, Curtis? Looks like the 15 of Jeff T. Martin is making a move on the inside of Ray Richer, and he's going to bring James Somke with him, as well as the 28 of Gerald Heffley. They're all going to pass the 44. I don't know if things wrong with his truck or not.
Mark Jackson looking to get that 3rd position back from the number 33 of Vernon Markheim. That 3 truck to the bottom makes the pass in turn 1 and 2. He looks to set his sights on the 19 of Tim Cox. I'm not sure if he has enough time to get back to James Ross, but he might be able to get his way back up to 2nd.
Yeah, Curtis, you know, you've won these races many times. These last few laps, these drivers are doing everything they can. They're up on the wheel. They're getting every single horsepower out of their truck. They're trying to angle these corners to get the best run off. What would your strategy be if you were running right now in the 19 Tim B. Cox truck?
You just gotta run your line and hope that the 51 makes mistakes, honestly. A lot of times you'll find yourself pushing too hard and you end up losing more time just trying to drive the heck out of it, but it's really hard not to do that. But a lot of times, you know, if you can just maintain the drivers in front of you's pace, then they'll fall back a couple tenths, and that's just what Tim Cox has to hope for right now. Is we're inside 3 laps to go. It looks like it's about a 4 or 5 truck length gap. James Ross coming to 2 laps to go this time by. He's led, I'm going to say, over 100 laps tonight. He's been the most dominant truck all night, and he's just got 2 more times to navigate this racetrack before the checkered flag flies.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Thanks. It looks like it is definitely James Ross's race to lose. He already has 1 win in our Dented Fender Truck Series this season. Although it does look like Tim B. Cox has made up a little bit of ground on him, but I don't think it's going to be enough, but you never know. And looks like Mark Jackson, who led, like you said, a majority of this race, he's giving it everything he can in that number 3. He's gaining a little bit of time on Tim B. Cox, but I'm not sure if either one of those guys have got anything for James Ross.
White flag is in the air for James Ross. He's in turns 1 and 2, and he got caught in a pit cycle. He had to go back to where he started pretty much after all the work that he did to get up to that lead position. He ended up back in 7th. Just for a second, you thought maybe he's not going to win this race, but he showed that he was the most dominant truck all night. The 51 of James Ross goes to victory lane at Texas.
Congratulations, James. That was an awesome win. Yes, fans, we're going to have interviews right away in just a minute with the top 3 Fenders. You do not want to miss these interviews. You're going to hear exactly what these drivers were thinking, how they got where they were in the top 3, and we're going to find out who wins that extra $5, and we're also going to let you know, fans, who won the free pizza. Curtis, if you'll go through the top 10 or 15, I'll get these drivers moved up for interviews.
Yeah, James Ross in the 51 machine. The Traxxas Toyota Tundra brings it around to the start-finish line. He's going to burn it down. 19 of Tim Cox finishes in 2nd, and the 3rd position of Mark Jack. Yeah, sorry. 3rd place finisher is Mark Jackson in the 3 machine. Sorry, the number and the position were really throwing me off there. 33 of Vernon Markheim for 4th. Shane Parrish for 5th in the 81 machine. Michael Fravert in 6th tonight in the 36 machine. Jack Watts, the number 66, finishes in 7th here tonight. William Locklear finishes inside the top 10, running in that 8th position. Joe Johnson, solid run tonight, gains 11 positions from his starting position, finishing 9th, with Andrew Kessler rounding out your top 10. It looks like Ray Richer bringing it home in that 11th position. Craig Lerman in the 77 brings it home in 12th. Dustin Lee in the 32 finishes 13th tonight. Judd Danielson, who is having a very solid run, unfortunate end to his night in the 85 machine, finishes 2 laps down in 14th position. 15 of Jeff Martin finishes 15th. James Somke 16th. Gerald Heffley in the 28 A little bit of a rough night for him. Got in the wall a couple times, finishes 2 laps down in that 17th position. Sean Kalis in the 45 finishes in the 18th position. Tim Rangers in the 19th position with Jeremy Crandall rounding out your top 20.
Thank you so much, Curtis. Looks like real quick, 21st was William Hartman. Led a lot of the laps at the pole position. He finishes 12 laps down. Gary Sexton 22nd, Ricky Lake 23rd, Ivan Garcia 24th, Gadara Campbell 25th, Tyler Chalk finishes 26th, Gene Cullum 27th, Gary Weston 28th, 29th was Chad Payne 30th, Chuck Dix, Ronald Klein 31st, Josh Tanner 32nd, 33rd, looks like was Donald Sadusky. So Curtis, it looks like top 3 here. Mark Jackson, I'm going to bring him in here and let you interview Mark real quick.
Number 3 of Mark Jackson. You had a solid run all night, led quite a few laps again, almost had your second win in a row. Tell us about your race tonight.
Oh man, Curtis, woohoo, man, what a race. Man, I have to give it to my crew chief. He was calling a good race for me, helping me get through that. Really hated to see that last caution come out. I think we had enough to make it to the end if it hadn't went down like that. But man, all in all, I'm really super stoked about where we finished. We've had a good super speedway program in our over-the-top paints Chevy Silverado, and just really glad to be here on the podium. It could have been a little bit different outcome, but we're really happy.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if that caution that came out around with around 20 to go, if you had enough fuel to make it to the end or not, because if you didn't, I thought you were just throwing away track position staying out there, but if you did, that could have been the race-winning move. So, I mean, do you think there's that when that final restart came down to it and you thought you were going to be starting behind the leader, do you think that could have made a difference if James Ross didn't elect to take the outside? Because I really think he took the outside because he thought that maybe you were the only one that really had anything for him, and he wanted you to have to get by those 2 other trucks before you got to him.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went down, and there was no way I was going to be able to get a jump or anything like that to get to him, and I didn't have enough speed in the truck to actually probably challenge from behind, but when the truck was up front, it had good downforce, and the truck handled a lot better than it did drafting behind somebody. Track was kind of tight, and tire wear came into play. And man, what a race! Hats off to James. He drove a hell of a race, and Tim, and good job to those guys.
Well, Mark, you won your wife a pizza last week. You get the win last week. You get yourself another top 3 here tonight. Who would you like to thank for your continued success so far here in the Domino's TYJ Racing League?
I have to thank my sponsor, John Hedrick, Over the Top Paints and Designs, putting these slick paint jobs on the truck for me. I have to thank my wife and my mom, and above all, thank the good Lord upstairs for allowing us to do what we do. And proud to be a part of this league at Domino's. It's really awesome.
Awesome run, Mark, and we'll let you go and celebrate. And Robert has caught up in pit lane with the number 19 of Tim Cox, our second place finisher here tonight.
Ain't kind of dirt yet.
Tim, hey, this is Robert and Curtis up in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on a great run there, Tim. Looks like you started all the way back in 9th. You come home 2nd. Tell us how your race was, and did you have anything for James Ross if we'd had another 10 laps?
No, I pretty much gave it everything I had there, Robert, there on that last restart there. Me and James pretty much worked together on that last caution. He took the outside, and I gave him a little bit of room on the inside, so that's how we're able to pull on the 2nd place tonight.
Well, thanks, Tim. Like I said, you had a great race tonight. Looks like you fell back a little bit during the caution cycles, which were there at the end, but the long green flag runs we had tonight, Tim, what'd you think about that?
Our long green flag runs were awesome. We the truck handled great. As long as you saved your tires, you were there for the end of it, and that's exactly what we did. And we had a strategy coming in that that I wasn't going to pit until that last drop of fuel was there. Because I've been bitten by cautions before, and it worked out for us tonight.
Yes, sir. You definitely had a good performance. A little bit of luck came into play. You're a talented driver. You got a great crew chief. You have a good spotter, Kip. You had a trouble all night long. I don't think you made any mistakes on pit road with your pit crew. Didn't drop any lug nuts. Didn't drop any fuel cans. Your crew didn't. So you got to have all those factors to win one of these races to get a top 3. And you did a great job, Ken. Who would you like to thank?
First of all, I want to thank my teammates Gary Sexton and Will Davis. We do practice a lot on these kind of tracks, and a special thanks to James Ross and David Washington. They really helped me out on these tracks, and David's actually shown me a lot here the past couple of weeks. So special thanks to him.
All right, thanks, Tim. You have a great weekend, and of course, you're not going to miss out tomorrow night, I don't think, on the top shelf race at Kansas. It's going to be another exciting race, so we'll definitely talk to you tomorrow night.
Yep, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, thanks again. All right, Curtis, if you'll interview our race winner.
Yeah, caught up in victory lane with the number 51 of James Ross, the most dominant truck all night. James, we talked to you with about 10 laps to go there. You thought that you had the truck to beat on the short run, and you took the outside on that restart. I gotta ask you, what was that so you could keep the number 3 of Mark Jackson as far back as possible, or was that to maybe help the 19 out a little bit?
It's kind of a little bit of both. I know, Tim in the 19's been working with Dave, my teammate, a bit, and they've been working on some stuff with driving, and I kind of felt like Mark was going to be the truck. If anybody had anything for me at the end, it was going to be Mark. So figured if I'm getting the jump on the outside, that'll put him at least 3rd at the start. I guess my spotter told me he fell back to 4th. But that was a strategy move, and it's part of the game. Playing the odds the best we could, and it definitely worked out in our favor tonight.
Yeah, you definitely haven't had it work that way for you every week. The last couple weeks, actually, you've been bitten by the strategy game. It just hasn't worked out for you, and this could be your 3rd win in a row if things really worked out for you, but last couple weeks just didn't work out the way you wanted them to. This week does. What did you think of the long green flag runs? I know that you really seemed to play in strong on that. You said that you thought Mark was a bit faster than you on the long run. I kind of thought the opposite. I thought you were the faster truck on the long run, and he was a little bit quicker on the short run, but these long runs really seem to be what your strength is.
Oh yeah, I mean we're long run guys over here. I mean we're trying to take care of the stuff. I mean I did see towards the end of the runs, Mark would pick up right at the end of the run. He'd be about 10th to a 10th and a half quicker a lap after we got about 30 to 35 laps in, and he'd start eating back. I mean I actually thought the caution fall of the wrong tongue bug, it almost caught me twice. I mean the first caution where William pitted, we were going to pit with him on that lap, and I just had a hunch to stay out one more. The caution came out, and he actually got an entering under caution. I mean, it came out, he was already committed.
Yeah, that basically ended his race right there.
Yeah, it did, and he got a penalty for passing under yellow too, so that kind of would double bit him. So I mean, that was the first time we could have got caught, and then we were running the strategy of short pitting a little bit, and it was working out real good for us. And Mark was going to have to pit probably in a lap or two. We would have had a huge advantage on him after he came off, and then the caution came out and kind of mixed that up again. So it tried to bite us again tonight, but those cautions at the end actually helped us a little bit there.
All right, James, we'll let you go celebrate your victory, but before we do, who would you like to thank? Again, we've been talking to you almost every week, but who helps you get it done here every week in the Domino's TYJ Racing Series?
Well, of course, I gotta thank my teammates. I gotta thank William Hartman and Andy Kessler, Dave Washington, of course. He's the guru. He gives me the information I need to do what I need to do. Mike Arditi, my spotter, he shows up every week. He actually just moved from Florida to New York and just set up his stuff in time just to get on and spot for me tonight. Of course, I got to thank Domino's, TYJ, Dented Fender Racing. I mean, the racing here is just awesome every week. All Pro Broadcasting, you guys do a great job, and want to give a big shout out to Pad tonight. I mean, a wonderful cause. I mean, back a long time ago with Noble, we did some events with Pad, and with Nikki and all that, and it's great to see them out here. Great to see that organization growing. Got some stickers and slapped them on the truck about 15 minutes before we went racing tonight. They just made it in time. So nice to put their stickers, especially on the tailgate in Victory Lane tonight.
Yes, sir. I wanted to mention real quick, James, congratulations on the win. I know you're recovering from a shoulder surgery, so it's just amazing what you're accomplishing. But, yeah, we're real thankful for Pat jumping on. If you didn't know this, you earned an additional $5 for winning the race with Pat on the back of your truck. We've talked to the fans all night about Pat and about contributing, donating. I know you don't do this for the money or anything. We just throw this in for the fun of it. But hopefully some of the drivers tonight who won some money in the top three will definitely give back to Pat, because it is definitely a great organization.
Oh, absolutely, Robert. Couldn't be a better cause. So yeah, I'm all in for that.
All right, thanks again, and we'll definitely probably talk to you tomorrow night, and we'll see you then.
Very good. Thanks a lot, boys.
Yes, sir. I also wanted to mention, I know the fans have been waiting. We do have a winner tonight of the large free three-topping pizza. It looks like Tina Thompson from Nashville, Tennessee, was the one that picked James Ross to win the race tonight. So congratulations to her and her family. She gets a large three-topping pizza, and we're happy for that. But we're even more happy for Pat, Curtis. They came on board tonight. They got quite a few more races the rest of this season. I did want to mention them one more time. Make sure, fans, if you don't do anything else this weekend as far as giving to other folks or organizations, make sure you research PAD. It is pad.org. You're having a walk on the 15th of April. We're all looking forward to contributing. And again, fans, for your protection and your safety and the safety of your children in your car behind the wheel, stay alive, don't text and drive. Curtis, what are your takeaways from tonight?
A lot of long green flag runs. Pretty awesome race overall. Just great job by the drivers tonight. Pretty much just keeping it clean and green until the last part of the race. We had a few more cautions, but that's bound to happen when it comes down to it and it's go time. But yeah, just a great race overall for our second Crown Jewel event on the year here, and the 7th race of the Dented Fenders Truck Series, and looking forward to more to come.
Yeah, thank you, Curtis. And I also wanted to mention one last thing to you fans. If you're watching this and you're into racing, we are having our brand new series, Domino's TYJ Dirt Tryout Race, this coming Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You will definitely be able to find that. We are looking for a handful of clean, competitive racers. Dirt is the new thing with what we're doing. And drivers, if you're watching this race and you're not part of a good dirt league, you have my personal invitation to show up for that race. And hopefully things will work out. Again, for Curtis Young, Michael D'Amico, who always does an excellent job on the camera work with All Pro Broadcasting, we honestly don't know where we'd be without him. And for myself, Robert McFarland, you have been watching the Pad 250 here on All Pro Broadcasting from Texas. Thanks, fans. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, Thursday, for our for our Top Shelf Cup race at Kansas. You will have another chance to win a free large pizza. Again, fans, thank you so much. Have a great one, and good night.